Attention, sorry about the audio in this first minute or so. It gets better when the review starts, so hang in there for about a minute, Lee.
Folks, I've got a treat for you today. The last time I reviewed Starfleet Academy, it was a very long episode, and even though it got a lot of views, for me at least, I can't put you all through that again. So this time, I'm going to try to make it really short, because this show is really hard to get through. It's not very well thought out, and I really don't like the writing of the show. The characters, some of them, I'm okay with, but we'll get into it. And as you may have noticed, I do have a new costume. This one actually matches the time period that my Star Trek fan group is actually set in. So the only thing I don't have right now are my pips. Either way, new costume. So let's actually just get into the episode. So first off, you're going to notice Starfleet Academy is back. Again, we're not going to go through this whole episode with a fine-tooth comb, but we do need to talk about a few things. The essential aspects of this episode is that while the cadets start doing their first kind of... Oops. Well, I'll just show you. So basically, first it starts off, this is fall semester, and Captain Mushmouth decides that she's going to start this fall semester off with a speech. She talks about doing little things to make a tapestry, like she says here. And long story short, she basically tells them that they need to do little things to create and weave a tapestry, like I just said, in order to grow together. You know, one small stitch, and they'll rebuild the galaxy back, which is great. The only problem is that they all act like a bunch of literal children. So, in this specific scene with this Vulcan, so Darem, I think his name is, he's just a jerk for kind of no reason, because they're all basically friends anyway. But they're in this class, and they're talking about space and time or whatever. And him and Caleb kind of have a little, not a fight, but they kind of argue whatever. And he ends up flipping him off. And it's funny because he says this. He says, "Is there a point in history, or an example from history of a danger from somebody that needed to call their mommy?" And he's referring to Caleb in what he did in the previous episode, which caused the ship to be found by the bad guy. I don't even care about his name anymore. And it's funny that he says that, because that's kind of what happened. That's what the burn was caused by. It was about a Kelpian who called for his mommy, and it kind of ruined everything. So it's just funny that they refer to that as if it's a kind of a wuss thing to do, and it's like, you're calling attention to it in your show anyway. So anyway, Holly Hunter, she continues to bloviate. They do introduce the War College in this episode, which are obviously going to be like either the bad guys or the Slytherins, if you catch the Harry Potter symbolism in this show, and they're all a bunch of bad guys. Thok, this lady, the Ozem Hadar, she continues to be a shouty, yelly, angry woman who has more testosterone than the Klingon. The Klingon boy who's in this show, he's a soft boy Klingon. And so here she is, completely tainting the iconic phrase of "boldly go where no one has gone before." And then they do fanfare. We got the opening credits. I haven't watched the show yet, but you do get to see this guy from Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy. I liked seeing him, even though I don't know anything about him. So they get their assigned rooms, and initially Genesis here, she makes it seem like she and Caleb are going to be bunking together, but she's like, no. He ends up actually having to bunk with Darren, and he makes this face. He's like, oh, hell no. Which, it's another modern day thing, and I hate it. The Betazoids, that's the big thing of this episode. The Betazoids are coming to Starfleet Academy because the Admiral of Starfleet, the guy from The Mummy, which is all I know him from because I never watched Discovery, but I know he's in Discovery. He is going to be having talks with Beta Z to get them to rejoin Starfleet. And the problem is that they have a psionic barrier or a psionic wall around their planet, which, why wouldn't it be a bubble? Also, it's kind of supposed to be like another Trump allegory with walls, as if they're trying to be isolationist, even though in Discovery, I'm pretty sure that's what they did in that show with Earth. Earth was isolationist, and they had not a wall, but they had a way to stop people from getting in. So it's just strange. Yeah. So Holly Hunter, once again, is dwarfed by everyone. She has a conversation with the Chancellor of the War College and the Admiral. And they're just kind of arguing about Emran Sadal. He's the Beta Z ambassador, or leader of the planet or something. But my whole point in this is that Holly Hunter doesn't wear shoes, like, at all. And she's like, I'm just going to air out my feet. Which is, it's gross. It's gross. And it's unprofessional, and she's tiny, and I don't like her. So, they end up going to a class, and Tig Notaro, everyone's favorite comedian, decides to basically tell Caleb that he's too smart for his own good and he's a punk. She tries to get him to remember her name, and I don't know what her name is. No, they haven't even said her name in the show, I don't think. But he's supposed to remember it, and she waxes poetically about how he's a genius and blah blah blah. And then she says, "Old age and treachery always triumph over youth and a smart mouth." She says it's Oscar Wilde, and anyway, he gets sprayed with this foam because the stuff that's in that blue jar, when it contacts your skin, it'll like mate with you or something, and then he gets embarrassed, so he decides to leave, and he's sitting on a fence, literally, with his destiny in his hand, when the Beta Z girl decides to ask him what he's doing. She's literally, I'm not like all the other girls. I'm special or whatever. They kind of bond, and then they get away. They split, but he ends up deciding to stay in Starfleet. Holly Hunter convinces the Admiral and the War College guy to allow the students of Starfleet Academy to witness the negotiations between Beta Z and Starfleet to try to get them to join. So the funny thing about the Beta Zs in this episode is that the dad, this is his daughter, and he's got a son back here. The dad is deaf and uses sign language to communicate, which sounds fine, because I'm sure there would be deaf people in the future, even though I think they probably would have fixed that. But that's not the issue. They're from Beta Z. You know, the planet full of telepaths. You don't even need ears to be a telepath. And like, he uses sign language, which I guess I could understand him using sign language, you know, to communicate with the other people who don't know sign language. He puts this thing on his neck, and it translates his signing. That's fine. But he uses it with his daughter and his son and the other Beta Zs around him, which, again, you don't need that. If you're deaf and you're a Beta Z, you have mental powers. your mental powers make up for any lack of hearing that like you don't need ears. Like I mean that'd be like somebody with their hands chopped off, but they have telepathy and they can like lift things with their mind, but they still reach out and like pretend like they're grabbing something with their cut off hands or something. I don't know. I can't even come up with a good analogy for it. But it's almost like they needed to represent deaf people in this episode, so they chose the Betazoids. But they didn't know that Betazoids can actually just talk in their mind to each other. Like, uh, but they can talk to each other in their minds. Like, there's no need for sign language, really. Like, I mean, she could literally just talk to. I'm going on about this. It just really irritates me because it's stupid. It's just a stupid thing. Yeah, and she signs to him, "Sorry, I'm late," when she could just think to him, "Sorry, I'm late," and it would get to him. And what is his brain deaf too? It's just immensely stupid. Anyway, they have all the kids sit and watch, and essentially, at the end of all the debates, the the Betazoid guy was like, "Oh, let's call it a recess for now because we'll think about it." Um, the kids, though, this is his son. Uh, this is the Betazoid guy's son, and obviously it's his daughter. She and him, they are like a new group of thinkers on Betazoid or Beta Z, where they want to expand out. They've only been raised on Beta Z. They want to experience the galaxy differently, and they want to go, but they want Beta Z to reach out and become part of the Federation again, so that they can learn more or whatever. And he's like, okay, well, we'll think about it. I don't know, he bites into this thing, and it's not an apple, but he's an idiot anyway. The Betazoid girl basically convinces her dad to let somebody introduce her to the rest of the school and kind of walk her around. And she chooses Caleb, obviously, because she's in love with him, and they're obviously doing a meet cute type thing. And he shows her around the school, and the long and short of it is they end up astronomics or something like that. And essentially, he has been trying to find the planet where his mom was kept after she escaped from the rehabilitation camp. And she went to this place called Goja 5. That's all the information they have. He can't find it in Starfleet's maps. So the Beta Z girl, apparently, she waves her hand over this central device here, and turns out that she just enhances their scanners or something. And long story short, they search for Goja 5, and he's like, "Oh yeah, cool. It's behind their psionic barrier, which is why nobody could find it." So he's like, "Oh cool, let's search for it," and they find it. For some reason, she gets upset at him for hiding the fact, like she gets upset at him because she's like, "Oh, you're just using me to find Goja 5," and he's like, "No, I'm." Like the more I watch this show, I actually don't mind Caleb. I think he's his story with his mom and trying to find his mom, and he's like kind of too cool for school. I don't know. I kind of like his character, only because he's trying to go against what everybody else is doing, because everybody else is like, I guess they're trying to be Starfleet, but he doesn't really want to be there and is slowly learning how to work with a team and all this other stuff. Even if his backstory is a little cliche, it's fine. I don't mind it. But it's like everybody else treats him like he's some prodigy or something. I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, going forward, he still agrees to show her around the school, and they end up in what's this area? It's like an aquarium. It's not like an aquarium. It's literally an aquarium. And she reaches out to the whale. The whale's pregnant, and he basically sees in her that she wants to be more involved in the rest of the galaxy. She's part of a movement of kids on the planet who want to join the rest of the galaxy and all that. And this is also kind of part of their meet cute or whatever. But they are discovered by everybody. Captain Mushmouth finds them, the dad finds them, and the guy from the War College. But he ends up telling Mushmouth that where Goja 5 is, what this says. I know I'm looking over here, but I'm actually like, I kind of want it to look like I'm looking up at the show, but I'm looking over here and it's kind of throwing me. But don't worry about it. Anyway, he tells her that he found it, and she's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." They have a ball where the doctor and this thing sing, and they do the entire song, and it's literally this, like pa 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 pa, like the whole time. It's extremely annoying, but I don't even remember the significance of this scene. There is a brainless woman, so that's kind of, indicative of this show. So this specific thing that they're referencing is one of the things that the Admiral tells the Betazoid guy, that they're going to have the headquarters of Starfleet be in Paris, the way it always has. And he says, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And they're like, yeah, we think it would be a cool thing to have it still be here on Earth in Paris. And he's like, okay, whatever, sure, that's cool, whatever. Obviously, that's something that's going to come up later. They finish their song. Okay, so they have a conversation again about things, and he talks about his mom more. She again kind of gets upset at him for being misleading about his reasons with her, but it's forced drama. It's nothing important. Holly Hunter shows off her gross arms and hands again and her feet. He gets upset. The guy from Betazoid Zed gets upset again and decides, nah, we're leaving in the morning. Forget this place. We're going back to Beta Z and everything's lost. So she goes to Caleb's room, and there's more eye candy for the girls. Now, and that's something I didn't point out in my last review episode. This show is made for women and gay men. And I don't mean that to be mean to either one of those groups. But women will see this strong man, and they'll go, ooh, I like watching a strong man with his shirt off. Because when she first walks in, he's got his shirt off, and he's like, oh, dang, let me cover up. And he's ripped. Like, he's got these big old strong arms, and sure, it's attractive for women. But on the other hand, you got gay men who will watch the show, and also for the same thing. Now, the only people this show is not made for is straight men. Because a straight man does not look at him and go, ooh, they want to see a pretty girl. Now, there are a couple pretty girls in this show, but nothing to write home about, really. Like, the Betazoid girl, earlier, when she's talking to not Jaden, I always want to say Jaden. When she's talking to Caleb, she's wearing this kind of slinky outfit. You can see her belly, and she's a skinny girl. She's got a fine figure. She's nothing special. My only problem with her is that this is the only shape her mouth ever makes. She's always just like this. When I lose control, people can get hurt, and it's awkward, and I don't like it. So it's just that's the only face she ever makes. She's just oh gosh. So anyway, Mushmouth goes to talk to Caleb, and he's like, oh yeah, my mom, she's cool. I miss her. And Mushmouth, she's like, when your mom was in prison or in the rehab place, all she did was study physics. And he's like, oh yeah, in physics there's always something to build. And then she calls him a genius for some reason, and he's like, wait. And so he runs out to the delegation of Betazoids, and he's like, can I talk to your daughter for just a second? And he does, and he basically somehow convinces the dad, or the girl, to talk to the dad and get him to come back for peace talks one more time. And it turns out that Mushmouth and the Admiral propose to the Betazoid guy that instead of having Starfleet headquarters be on Earth in Paris, they're going to have the Starfleet headquarters be on Beta Z. And he's like, let me think about that. And he does the dumbest thing ever. He looks around the room. The two of them stand up and look at him. And then they have their I am Spartacus moment. And then, this is the best part. So the dad, he looks around at all the people who are like, yeah, that's cool. He takes off his translator and he goes, yes. Literally just like that. And everybody claps. And yeah, that's yay, happy days. So, with the help of Beta Z, they find out that Caleb's mom is headed for the Romov sector after she broke out of Goja 5 or wherever she was kept on Goja 5. She was seen as of 3 months ago headed for the Romov sector. So they've got another lead to look for his mom. And he's like, yay, happy days. I don't like the way that guy walks either. I know that's probably how the other Kelpians walk or whatever, but it's stupid. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm your new roomie, woo! And he says, I'm your third. He says, we're roommates. He says, my dad let me stay. Which, again, I just watched the Next Generation episode where Wesley tries out for Starfleet Academy. And there's 4 people. There's a really smart Vulcan, fish guy, Wesley, and some girl. And of the 4 of them, only the fish guy makes it. And he makes it by like this much because his scores were like slightly higher than Wesley's. And it's like, it's supposed to be the cream of the crop. You know, the top of the line people get into Starfleet because those are the people that you want out there exploring and doing the heroic things and trying to save the galaxy when you need help out there. Because at the end of the day, Starfleet kind of acts like they're like a police force almost. I mean, somebody has to do it, and if everybody is pitching in to make sure that there's peace, then everybody can like pursue science and technology and explore at the same time. And like this show just shows that it's basically just a bunch of retarded children, and they're all just out there. I don't even know what they're learning at this school because they're all like 20 or somewhere around there, and like the smartest one of them is like looking for his mom. He doesn't really care because he knows everything. And then you've got a fat hologram girl who she like was programmed to be fat and ugly and autistic, which I think is going to age poorly because like we barely understand autism now. And if you look back to see like what they wanted to represent with this show is that like core of kids who are autistic, then like once we figure out that like autism is probably something different, just like how we've come so far with like depression and how we understand that now, I feel like we're going to look back on it and be like, ooh, this show didn't really age that great. Unlike all the other Star Trek shows from the original series to Voyager, Enterprise, actually, I should say, where all of those people still go back and watch those shows. I don't think people are going to go back and watch these shows, but I don't know. Anyway, long story short, you got a bunch of idiots running the place at Starfleet now. They fold their bed, just like what Mushmouth said at the beginning, and all is right in the world. So that, my friends, is Starfleet Academy, episode 2. I did not make an episode on this last week because I was off planet. I was off planet and I was doing other things. So I hope that is okay. But stay tuned for my next episode review. It'll be coming up right after this one because I have to get them out before episode 4 because I want to be on time with this show and actually follow it. So thank you for watching, all 97 of my subscribers. Let's get those numbers up. Let's get those rookie numbers up. So if you want to, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you don't want to, I appreciate the fact that you even tried watching my video. So until the next episode, I will see you next time. Live long and kapla.